The 2nd of June 1944, 4:15. RAF Ridgewell, Essex. Hard rain taps on the aluminum skin of a B-17G Flying Fortress. Ground crews move with fast steps on wet concrete. Engines cough awake in the dark. The air smells of fuel and damp grass. Inside the lead bomber, men check buckles and wipe their hands on their flight suits. No one speaks long, short lines only. Clear, ready, go. The pilot pushes the throttles forward. 4 Wright Cyclone engines rise to a deep roar. The bomber shakes, wheels lift. The Fortress climbs into a low ceiling of clouds. The crew feels the cold settle. Flak bursts wait somewhere ahead. German fighters wait too. The intercom crackles. Enemy bandits climbing. The waist gunners brace at their windows. The sky turns red with first light. A Jagdgeschwader forms up near Lille. Bf-109s turn in tight arcs. Their radios buzz with tension. They see a stream of silver shapes, row after row. More bombers than yesterday, more than last week, more always coming. The German ace curses under his breath. He has never seen production like this. This moment over France is only one part of a much larger story. If you want more stories like this, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. The B-17 Flying Fortress did not appear by accident. Its roots reach back to the early 1930s, when the United States Army Air Corps wanted a long-range bomber that could cross oceans and hit targets deep inside enemy territory. At the time, many leaders believed future wars would depend on air power, especially strategic bombing. They wanted a machine that could fly high, fly far, and defend itself without fighter escorts. Boeing responded with a bold design using 4 engines, a large wingspan, and a strong internal structure. The early model 299 prototype pushed limits. It could fly above 25,000 feet. It carried a heavy load of bombs. It had multiple gun positions, including a nose turret, a dorsal turret, a ventral position, and waist guns. Speeds reached over 250 miles per hour. Impressive for such a large aircraft. Inside, the bomb bay could hold up to 8,000 pounds. Though wartime missions often carried less to extend range, strategic planners wanted a bomber that could cross harsh weather and still press forward. The B-17 frame used aluminum alloys that balanced strength and weight. Its thick wing roots allowed it to take hits and stay airborne. Testing showed it could climb with one engine out. Commanders liked that. They saw a future in which waves of these machines could strike at factories, rail lines, and oil plants deep inside enemy territory. The pressure of rising tensions in Europe made the program urgent. By 1938, orders increased. By 1941, the B-17 was ready for mass production, training, and deployment across the Atlantic. Powerful ideas carried the bomber into service, but early days brought trouble. The first prototype crashed in 1935 after a control lock was left engaged. Investigators wrote, "Pilot error due to overlooked checklist item." This pushed the Air Corps to adopt strict checklists and training routines. Some officers doubted the bomber's complexity. Others said it was too expensive. For a time, only a small number were ordered. Early crews struggled to master formation flying and high-altitude operations. Oxygen systems froze. Engines overheated after long climbs. Waist gunners reported that the slipstream nearly tore weapons from their hands. Some training units lost planes during takeoff or bad weather. A memo from one squadron commander read, "Aircraft performance excellent, crew skill lacking, further hours required." In the first combat missions over Europe in 1942, losses shocked planners. Luftwaffe fighters attacked in sharp bursts. They targeted engines, cockpits, and fuel tanks. Gunners fired back, but accuracy was poor in early engagements. Some German pilots mocked the American belief in unescorted daylight bombing. A captured pilot wrote, "They come in tight boxes, but they bleed all the same." These failures taught hard lessons. Crews learned to exploit the bomber's strengths. The flying fortress had heavy defensive firepower, but only if formations stayed tight. Training shifted to long hours practicing box formations. Overlapping gun arcs created a shield of .50 caliber fire. Engineers improved turrets. The Chin turret on the B-17G added strong forward defense, solving a major weakness against head-on attacks. Crews learned engine management at high altitude. They used turbochargers to maintain power above 20,000 feet. This let formations fly higher than many German fighters could reach early in the war. The bomber's rugged frame absorbed damage that would bring other aircraft down. Reports showed B-17s returning with large sections of tail or wing torn open. Range improved with refined fuel management. Gunners improved accuracy with better sights and discipline. By mid-war, formations could lay down dense fire that tore through attacking fighters. Every improvement made the bomber more dangerous. Every lesson sharpened its crew. Soon, the flying fortress earned its reputation. The story of the B-17 is built on many missions, some famous, some known only to the crews who flew them. 3 moments show its power and the pressure faced by those inside. The first takes place on the 14th of October, 1943, during the raid on Schweinfurt. 291 B-17s lifted off from English airfields. Their target was the heart of German ball-bearing production. Weather broke their escort coverage. Many formations flew without fighter protection for long stretches. Luftwaffe units from multiple bases climbed to intercept. More than 300 fighters waited. The bombers pressed forward. Flak over the coast burst in thick clouds. Gunners shouted positions, left high. Closing fast, Bf-110s fired rockets. B-17s tightened their box. The sky filled with smoke, tracers, and engine trails. The temperature inside the forts dropped below freezing. Crews fought frostbite, fear, and exhaustion. They reached the targets and released their loads. But the cost was severe. 60 bombers failed to return. Survivors counted empty spaces on the runway. One pilot said quietly, "We held the line, but it nearly broke us." The second moment comes on the 27th of January 1943, the first American heavy bomber raid on Germany. 55 B-17s of the 8th Air Force attacked Wilhelmshaven. This mission proved the bomber could reach deep into Germany and still survive. The day was clear. Cold winds blew over the North Sea. German radar picked up the incoming force. Fighters rose in waves. Crews held formation. The Chin turret was not yet standard, so the nose remained vulnerable. Me-109s dove from above. A bombardier yelled, "Coming in front." The pilot kept steady while the gunners tracked targets. 2 bombers went down, but German losses grew too. Many Luftwaffe pilots underestimated the overlapping fields of .50 caliber fire. Several fighters pulled out with smoking engines. The bombs struck the port and naval facilities. American commanders believed they had proved a point. They had shown Germany that the United States could bring heavy bombers to its doorstep. The third moment takes place on the 19th of May 1944, during a mission against Berlin. More than 800 American bombers filled the sky. This time, long-range P-51 escorts stayed with them most of the way. Weather over Germany was rough. Cloud layers stacked thick and uneven. Flak batteries near the city fired non-stop. The formations shook under the blasts. 1 B-17 lost 2 engines. The pilot said on the intercom, "We stay in the line, hold tight." Fighters from JG-1 and JG-11 attacked in fast runs. Despite the pressure, the formations stayed solid. Gunners hit several attackers. Escorts drove others off. The bomb run stayed steady. Fires rose across rail yards and industrial centers. The damaged B-17 made it back to England onto engines. Ground crews counted bullet holes in the hundreds. The pilot stepped out and said, "This ship wants to live." His words reflected a truth many crews believed. The bomber could take punishment and still bring them home. Industrial strength shaped the story of the Flying Fortress as much as combat. The United States built more than 12,700 B-17s during the war. At peak output, factories produced one bomber every hour. Supply chains stretched across states. Aluminum, engines, radios, guns, and tires moved on tight schedules. Training schools produced thousands of pilots, navigators, bombardiers, and gunners. Each crew trained on formation flying, oxygen use, turret control, and emergency procedures. Mission demands were immense. The 8th Air Force flew thousands of sorties each month. By 1944, bomb loads reached millions of pounds. Fuel use surged. Losses remained high in some periods, but production replaced aircraft faster than Germany could destroy them. German factories struggled under bombing pressure. Their fighter units faced shortages of fuel and experienced pilots. The balance of the air war shifted. The B-17 also had psychological weight. German pilots respected its durability. Some feared its defensive firepower. A Luftwaffe diary entry from early 1944 read, "The fortress boxes cut the air like walls of fire. One mistake means death." Ground observers noted the size of the formations. They called them silver storms. American crews felt a mix of fear and confidence. They knew the risks. They knew the bomber could return with heavy damage. Gunners spoke about the rhythm of combat. Short bursts, quick calls, clear angles. Many believed the aircraft gave them a chance to survive missions that seemed impossible. Enemy civilians saw the bombers high above, hundreds at a time. The sight lowered morale and signaled that the war was turning. Late in the war, the B-17 evolved with new roles and improvements. The B-17G became the most common variant. It added the chin turret, improved armor, and upgraded electronics. Radar-aided navigation and bombing through clouds. Some bombers carried the H-2X radar dome for blind bombing. Others shifted to reconnaissance or search and rescue. Crews used new formation tactics with tighter spacing. Escort fighters removed pressure from head-on attacks, letting bombers focus on steady altitude and accurate strikes. Modifications strengthened control surfaces and fuel systems. Late war missions sometimes reached deeper targets as German defenses thinned. The bomber stayed useful, even as newer designs like the B-24 and B-29 entered service. Its strong frame and stable handling made it reliable for long missions across Europe and the Pacific. The B-17 Flying Fortress flew more than 290,000 sorties in World War II. It dropped over 640,000 tons of bombs. It destroyed many enemy fighters and absorbed punishment that would break other aircraft. More than 4,700 were lost in combat. Crews paid a high cost, but their missions shaped the strategic air war. They reduced Germany's industrial output and strained its resources. At first, many doubted the bomber. They questioned its size, its cost, and its daylight tactics. By the end, even enemies respected it. A German veteran later said, "You could shoot at them all day. They kept coming." The Flying Fortress leaves a legacy of endurance, firepower, and relentless production